Greetings everyone, this is Spot and welcome back to Shadowrun Returns Hong Kong. So I don't know if it's Shadowrun Returns Hong Kong or just Shadowrun Hong Kong. I'm confused, but thankfully my confusion does not need to be resolved for me to enjoy this wonderful game. So, we're going to get back to it. This is a story-driven game. If you're just coming in the middle, I would suggest you click the PlayStation, woohoo, yeah, the playlist link in the description and start from the beginning, because that's how it is. All right, so we are up in Isabel's room, I guess. Command center. Yeah, this is so cool. This actually looks like how my room used to be. Stuff hanging off the walls. Yes, I am a creature of the dark. So we're gonna talk to Isabel here. Isabel's jacked into the octopus. Her body sits inert, her breathing shallow. As you approach, an image blossoms onto the largest of the octopus's view screens. Hello down there, it's good to see you again. She smiles down on you from the monitor, her outline scintillating with blue-white light. She looks peaceful, at ease. Nice avatar, that's a good look on you. You really felt home in the Matrix, don't you? You look happy in there. Any thoughts about that last run? I've got to go, Isabel. Let's do it. Last run. She shakes her head. Nope, sorry. Jacking into the octopus is how I relax after a long day of work. Some people go to sports bars or strip clubs. I do this. As a rule, I don't spoil my leisure time with shop talk. I can understand that completely. But we're already talking shop, aren't we? Hey, if that's the way you feel. We're already talking shop, aren't we? There's a difference between the job and our lives. It's after hours and I don't want to talk about work, so if you wouldn't mind changing the subject. She lets the sentence hang. Nice avatar, that's a good look on you. Isn't it? I spent months customizing this avatar. She feels more real to me than my own skin. You really feel at home in the Matrix, don't you? You look happy in there. I suppose that I am. It's a comfort thing. As long as I'm jacked in, I can be whoever I want to be. Whatever I want to be. Sounds like Second Life. But I'm sure in here it's far better. Higher fidelity. Out there in meat space, I usually feel uncomfortable in my own skin. The avatar offers you a lopsided smile. I'd probably just live in here if I could. I've heard about deckers who've tried it. Never turned out well. Dehydration is a bad way to go. Actually a little sad. Sounds nice, doesn't it? But it'll never happen. I know. And of course I was joking. But truth be told, I do spend most of my time out there wishing that I were back in here. Yeah, why don't you get a hydration drip or something and, you know, pay someone to come service your bodily needs. Okay, that sounds bad out of context. Did not mean that. If you were a decker, you feel the same. It's hard to live in a cage of meat when you know how sweet it feels to leave your body behind. She pauses for a moment, considering. Then her avatar shimmers forward, feeling the screen. A slight frown crosses her face. You know, Spot, I've been thinking about the question you asked me a little while back. The one about the walled city? The avatar fidgets. The one that I dodged? Yeah, I remember. You don't have to make a big thing out of it, Isabel, it's fine. Didn't feel like a dodge to me. Besides, the whole game of questions thing was your idea in the first place. Yeah, we'll do this one. It was a dodge, though. I didn't mean for it to be, but that's what happened. I cheated you out of an answer that I owed you. For what it's worth, I wasn't trying to do that. It's just that talking about the walled city is problematic for me. I understand. I grew up in the Barrens. I know how hard it can be to talk about this stuff. We've all got problems. That shouldn't stop us from doing what needs to be done. Things are hard, I get it, but this is important. We're calling her is now. We'll do this one. I understand. No, it isn't that. I'm not explaining myself correctly. It isn't that I'm tortured by bad memories or anything like that. The problem is that I can't remember my childhood. Well, that's scary. The walled city, that entire chapter of my life, is nothing but a blur to me. I can give you general information about life on the inside, but the specifics of my own experience are gone. Gone? What do you mean gone? Do you have amnesia or something? General information is fine. Anything is better than nothing, which is what I'm working with now. I don't know, I'm curious. Something like that. The avatar fidgets on the screen. There were a variety of factors in play. The upshot of all this is that there are things that I can tell you about, but only a few, and only in bold strokes. Don't expect any personal stories. I couldn't share them even if I wanted to. So if that's okay with you, if you'll be satisfied with trivia and urban legends, then we can talk. Just say the word. Otherwise, well, at least now you know why. Okay. How did you lose your childhood memories? Well, she doesn't know. Give me what you can about the walled city. At this point, anything would help. I guess we'll go with this one. Alright. The avatar licks its lips, nods. I can do that. Isabel's avatar turns, begins to pace on the screen where she steps. Spiderwebs of light spread across the tiled ground of the octopus's sculpted matrix hub. When I think of the walled city, the thing that stands out the most in my mind is the legends, the mythology of the place. If I hadn't lived with them, I might have found those stories fascinating. The scintillating figure turns to you on the screen. Did you know that Kowloon Walled City is supposed to be cursed? That's what the locals believe. We had ghost stories and everything. Ghost stories. Isabel Avatar nods. Our own homegrown legends about things that haunted the walled city. Demons from another place. The Yama Kings. Well, we don't have this. But Yama Kings derive from the mythological judge of the dead, I presume. Okay, well that gives us a little bit of information. Tell me whatever you can about these things. Wait, the walled city is possessed by demons? No, she said stories. It'd probably be the easiest to think of them like urban legends, our own little pantheon of monsters and morality tales to frighten ourselves with at night. The stories are still clear in my mind, even after everything that happened. Everyone in the walled city believed them. You can get out of the walled city if you make a deal with Fu Ming. Cut the hearts from the 44 people closest to you and bring them to him. He will reward you with riches. That's not disconcerting in the least. Don't go under that arch, or Quenya will catch you. The avatar grabs at the air, its hands leaving glowing trails as they move. She'll rip out your teeth, tie your tongue in a knot, and make you her slave for eternity. We had Chixiang, our own homegrown judge of souls. People would let themselves be flayed alive in hopes that he'd reawaken them in a better life. And we had Lam Vei, the ebony queen, who'd teach you to hide so well that you'd slowly mutate into a cockroach. The avatar cocked its head, smirking, a dismissive gesture. It's all bullshit, of course. But everybody in the walled city believed it. If everyone believed in these things, maybe they're real. Wouldn't write stories off so easily. Magic is real, Isabel. If you're so convinced that these things are myths, why does everyone in the walled city believe in them? I think that's the most balanced one. Because they're an excuse. My parents and neighbors, their whole generation, invented the things to explain away their feelings. I can't get ahead because demons are keeping me down. Woe is me, woe is me. It's almost embarrassingly transparent when you really look at it. Lam Vei turning people into cockroaches? It's just a Kafkaesque trope layered into a morality tale. Kafkaesque, sorry. Xixing, he's just Anubis with a different coat of paint. Anubis. We're Assassin's Creed. No, Anubis with a different coat of paint. And you know that archway that I mentioned? The one that Quenya was supposed to haunt? I knew someone who found it. There was nothing on the other side but concrete. It's all superstitious drivel, Spot. The misery in the walled city isn't the fault demons or devils. We created it and we perpetuate it. We blame made-up monsters for our own failings. There's nothing more pathetic than that. Sounds less like you're trying to convince me than it does you're trying to convince yourself. What about the shared dreams? How to explain those away? I don't know. Mass psychosis? Or maybe something magical is going on. But it isn't them. They aren't real. They can't be. Anyway, that's enough for now, huh? I'm sure that gives you plenty to chew on. My obligation to give you an answer is satisfied, I think. So let's talk about something else. I don't know if we want to go here, but we're going to try. The Isabel Avatar frowns. I'd rather not go into it. It's personal. Suffice it to say that I've never missed them. At least, not until now. That wasn't an answer. What happened to you? If you ever want to talk about it, I'm a good listener. She looks away. Great. I'll keep that in mind. Can you think of anything else that might help us? I don't know, maybe? I'll put some thought into it. The avatar pauses, turns away. After a moment, Isabel's voice pours through the Tridio's speakers. On second thought, maybe I do have an idea. Are you open to taking on more work? Interesting, okay. Of course, kindly sending me new job offers all the time. That depends on the nature of the job and the size of the payday. Right now, I think that we've already got about as... Okay, we'll do this one. Yes. This wouldn't be work for Auntie Ching. Think of it as a side gig that you'd be doing for me. I think I've got a line on some software that could help us. I can't get to it on my own, though. It's a two-person job at least. What kind of software? And kindly Ching would be okay with this? Sure. What does she care if we pick up a little extra scratch on the side? I mean, I wouldn't go out of the way to tell her about the job or anything, but even if she were to find out, it's really none of her business. We're her employees, not her property. I have the run all planned out already. I've done the legwork, I know the location, I know the target. Just say the word and I'll send everything I have to your mission computer. You can look it over, weigh it, and decide what you want to do. Alright, deal, send the file. We've got plenty of... Yeah, send the file, duh. The Isabel avatar closes its eyes for a moment, then opens them with a smile. Done. You'll find the pertinent documents waiting in your inbox. If you decide to accept the mission, just check the box in the message documentation and it'll ping my comm link automatically. Alright, can't wait to find out what this is all about. I'm sure that the briefing I sent you will satisfy your curiosity. Trust me, Spot, this is a good job with a solid plan behind it. You'll see as soon as you've read it. And speaking of which, you should go do that now. Say no more, I'll go check it out. The avatar beams at you. Fantastic, I can't wait to hear what you think. I don't know, this seems a bit suspicious to me. She never seems quite this, I'll say, enthusiastic about, well, anything yet. It's odd. Call me, pessimistic, but it sounds suspicious. Okay. Gobet. Gobet looks up from a dented tin of oysters at the sound of your approach. Her rats, madness and folly, scurry from her hips up to her shoulders. Two sets of beady red eyes fix themselves on you. Hey, Seattle. Oyster? She spears a gray lump of seafood with a fingernail, extends it to you. It smells like low tide at a municipal pier. Eat the oyster. Sure, why not? Refuse. No, thanks. Refuse. Are you trying to kill me? You know what we're gonna do? You pop the rubbery wad of flesh into your mouth and chew. An explosion of lukewarm brine is your reward. Ew. Good, right? Half-repressed memories of dumpster diving and the Barons dance a merry jig in your brains as the mangled oyster slides down your throat. That is disgusting. And not just because it's a crappy oyster. I've tried oysters once in my life and yeah, like snot. Okay. Yeah, delicious. I've eaten worse. That was vile. Go back. Come on, it isn't that bad. I mean, it's seafood, and it isn't made of soy. That's got to count for something, right? She tilts back the tin, drains the remaining juice, and then flicks it into the overflowing bin at her side. Waste not? What not? What can I do for you? I'm not a big seafood fan. How do you like life here on the Bolt Hole? You know, the Bolt Hole is a pretty mediocre name for a ship. Ever consider changing it? You said that you'd teach me how to be a better Shadowrunner. I'm here to collect. Any thoughts about that last run? That's all I needed. We're gonna do... How do you like life? It's fine, shaping up. Having new roomies is always nice, she smiles. How are you enjoying your cabin? Comfy enough for you? Isn't half bad, better than some of the places I've squatted back in the Barrens. I get used to it. Almost rather sleep I've heard stories about the Redmond Barrens. Sounds like a real winner of a place. Kowloon isn't any better, of course, but at least our little slice of home is safe. That's true, it's handy having a mob boss on our side. I'll take the Bolt Hole over Barrens any day. This boat should have been mob boss. Yeah, handy. Auntie Ching is definitely that. She half frowns. Don't know if I'd say she's on our side, though. Why? She's helping us. Yeah, I know what you mean. We'll go with that one. Of course you do. Let's change the subject, huh? I'd rather not think about the old woman right now. You know, the Bolt Hole is a pretty mediocre name for a ship. We'll do that one. Yeah, sure, considered it a bunch of times. I never really cared enough to actually do it, though. She shrugs. You want to call him something else? I'm open to it. I want a strong name. How about Defiance? The Revenge feels appropriate. Let's go with something classical. The Dowager Empress. The Dowager? Dowager? Has a nice ring to it. Let's call her the Kraken. The Big Texas. That's what we're calling her. Tell me you don't love it. On second thought, let's stick with the bolt hole. You know, I don't mind the bolt hole, except that I keep wanting to say butthole for some reason. Which, you know, that bothers me. How about, the Dowager Empress? We'll go with that. Yeah, sure, I guess. She nods thoughtfully. What the hell? Let's roll with it. The Dowager Empress. She is. I think thoughts about that new name of the boat. You said that you'd teach me how to be... Okay, any thoughts on last run? I don't get the Wumpoans. I really don't. Isabel's about as close as I usually get to their particular flavor of crazy. You'd think with all that technology and backup, they'd been smart enough not to stiff a red samurai on payment, much less a goal. I don't know. For smart people, they seem pretty damn dumb to me. I'm not sure about inviting that goal into our boat, but I can't say I'm going to lose any sleep over the elders dying. We live and die by our reputation out here. Anybody dumb enough to pull a stunt like that on a goal, they might be dumb enough to have tried it on us. I just hope we made the right decision. So, what else did you want to chat about? You said that you teach me how to be a better Shadowrunner. I'm here to collect. Still remember that, do you? Huh. I just sort of assumed that you'd laugh that off. No dice. Wizened mentor, you offered. Now pay up. She straightens. Okay. How about this? I'll tell you a story about a run gone bad. You tell me what you'd have done in the runner's place, and then we'll compare notes on your answer. How does that sound? You tell me. You're the teacher here, remember? Right. It sounds good. Of course it does. So that's what we'll do. She sweeps a tangled rope of hair out of her eyes and back over one pointed ear, and after a moment of silent contemplation, she bites her lip and nods. Okay. So this is a story from early in my career. I was part of a team here in HK, but I did some occasional moonlighting for another group based out of Makua? I was a busy kid. Go on. Early in your career, so you were what, like 12 years old? Who was the other team? Anyone I might know at 12 years old? Her eyes narrow in mock indignation. You say that like I couldn't have been. When I was 12, I could have destroyed you. And also, I was 16, practically an adult in orc years. We grow up fast. Anyway, the job was a hit on this tower, sort of a trid multiplex / apartment complex. Sorry, needed some water. I'm sure that they've got them in Seattle too. You know the kind. 7 huge screens, monster concession stand, coffin and apartments on top like barnacles on a whale. I used to go to one back in Seattle. Best way to watch urban brawl. Never been to one, but I've heard of them. Lived in one for a while. Every time they showed an action movie, the walls would shake. Urban brawl. She nods. Good. You know what I'm talking about then. Our client wanted us to break into one of the apartments. The story was that an ex of hers, a guy named Boggs, lived there. She'd been cooped up. Sorry, I don't know why I can't read today. She had been cooped up with him until about a week prior. Then things went sour in a big way. She wanted us to get back some things that Boggs kept when he kicked her out. Scare the shit out of him, bloody him up a bit, make it look like a robbery. You know the drill. Sounds more like a job for thrill gangers than full-fledged Shadowrunners. Pulled a few jobs like that myself when I lived in the Barrens. It was a standard smash and grab then. Cool. Yeah, it was a pretty bush league gig, but the pay was decent enough. Not the sort of thing you'd turn down. So anyway, Simulance, that was our group leader, had a plan. We knew that we had to go in quiet because the Metroplex had a panic system wired directly to the HKPF. If we'd gone in shooting, we'd have been drowning in cops within 10 minutes. Sib thought that we could make it... Sib thought that we could maybe take advantage of the apartment's terrible soundproofing and kick in Boggs' door when the movie got loud. We'd camp out near his doorway, wait for the ceiling to start raining plaster, then smash our way in with his neighbors none the wiser. Doesn't sound like a bad plan. There's no way that would work. Well, it had the virtue of being simple. I'll give it that. But still, that didn't stop things from going the way that they did. So we waited in the hall, just like Sibilance, right? Sibilance planned. We had a guy on the elevator, another at the stairs. I was waiting by the floor's communal kitchen. Sib took up a position by the door. She had these cyber legs that she dumped a ton of Noonion into. Hydraulic jack, strength enhancements, the works. Girl could probably leg press a dump truck. She pauses for a moment. Come to think of it, most of her plans involved kicking things. That's hilarious. Sorry, there's something a little sad about that. Focus, go bed. Hey, if that was her thing, I wouldn't question it. And this woman was the best suited to lead this particular group of runners? Tragically, yes. Everyone else... Sorry, it's so funny. Tragically, yes, everyone else was various shades of amoral or screwed in the head. Sibilance might have had a tendency to solve all of her problems the same way, but she was better than the alternatives. Anyway, we heard a boom from downstairs. Felt the walls shake with the reverb. Sib wheeled back and gave the door a massive kick, just as she'd planned. From where I was standing, I couldn't really see what happened next. I could hear a massive crack as her boot slammed into Duraplast. The door flew off its hinges, exploded off, might be a more accurate phrase. A second later, we heard an ungodly crash. There was a moment of silence, then Sib let out this little gasp. The apartment was in shambles. It looked like a hurricane had hit it. Everything was trashed. Everything but the door, which was miraculously still in one piece. Remember that this was a coffin apartment. It wasn't much wider than the door was to begin with. And Boggs, well, what was left of him was under the door too. That didn't turn out well. Oh no. Well, you got the rough him up part right. Yeah, unfortunately, he wound up a lot rougher than he was supposed to be. Her nose crinkles in discomfort. That door really did a number on him. Ribs sticking out of the skin, that kind of thing. It was a bloody mess. Ugh. Literally a bloody mess. So yeah, Boggs was dead. The stuff that we'd been sent to the apartment to recover had been smashed to bits, and then the building alarm went off. So that's the situation. Our payday is smashed. My temporary teammates are all standing around with stupid looks on their faces. The cops are coming. I'm standing by the kitchen. She plants her hands on her hips, smiling. What would you have done in my place? This is interesting. I actually like stuff like this. Okay. Your group was in trouble. I'd have rallied with them, tried to help them fight their way past the cops and out. Civil Lance created the situation. You weren't even a part of our team. You were subcontracting. I'd have cut and run. Damage control. I'd have looked for blackmail material to protect myself from a soon-to-be angry client. I'd have... Is that a valid word? I'd have... Maybe it... Really? Interesting. I'd have tried to improvise. I mean, I've heard people say it. I've just never actually seen it, like, spelled out like that. I'd have tried to improvise. Was there anything in the kitchen you could use to resolve the situation? Well, I think that this is a character question. I don't think we want to do cut and run, right? Because that sets us up as someone that isn't loyal in the least. The blackmail, I think, is the same. So let's eliminate these two. So we've got group was in trouble, rallied with them, tried to help them fight their way past the cops. The other one is I've tried to improvise. Was there anything in the kitchen you could use to resolve the situation? This one is so vague and open-ended, I'm going to go with it. Because this is just like a given. So we're going to go with this one. Good thinking. As it happens, there was. And I knew just what to do with it. The thought popped into my head and I just went with it. She taps her temple with a smile. That's a lesson to remember, Seattle. The first answer that you come up with is almost always the best one you're going to have, so just roll with it. Don't second guess yourself. Don't hesitate. Just act. You'll live longer that way. Got it. Now, when I think crowded theater, I think place where you can't shout fire because it'll cause a panic. And then I thought, cops don't charge into burning buildings. They'll help people get out of them. And as it happened, I had the means to create real, genuine fires sitting right across from me. A pair of industrial ovens. This is awesome. You set the building on fire? Yeah, sure, makes sense, I guess. Go bet. I don't think that I can imagine an idea much worse than that. Actually, yeah, you set the building on fire. I encouraged it to burn. I encouraged it to burn. Oh, love this writing. I encouraged it to burn. Opened the gas vents wide, set the range on a timer, and motored back into the hallway. The others had started arguing amongst themselves. I told them to snap out of it and follow me down into the lobby. We had to clear the hallway before an errant spark took the whole floor out. Unfortunately, the rest of the group wouldn't listen. Sib and the rest of the team were too busy arguing about the relative merits of her let's kick things really hard and see what happens tactical system to want anything to do with me. I shouted back to them that the kitchen was going to explode and continued down the hallway. Just like I'd planned, I got out of that run in one piece. So did every single one of the people in that multiplex. My fire plan worked beautifully. If the rest of the team had listened to me, they might have gotten out of the building too. Kind of a bummer that they didn't, but at least the run turned out well for me. Oh, that's hilarious. All's well that ends well, I guess. That's... That's right. You take what you're given and make the best of it. And that's what I did. I couldn't collect any pay, of course. The run had been a disaster, but after the explosion, I got to ride in the front fire truck and they gave me cookies and a blanket. I wound up dating one of those firemen in a few weeks later, so it all worked out in the end. Oh my God. Meg claps her hands together and rubs them, a satisfied look on her face. I love this girl. So, Seattle. The laughter disappears from her voice and her expression goes serious. It's like somebody flipped a switch. Suddenly, the look in her eyes is shrewd, calculated. And I keep yawning for some reason. You know what I think it is? I'm reading and I'm trying to read it at a specific pace until I laugh. And so I don't think I'm not breathing well. So I'm not getting enough oxygen, which is making me yawn. Okay. Tell me, what was the moral of this story? What lesson was I trying to convey? Don't go on Shadowruns with idiots. Go with your gut. Fires solve all problems. I'm sorry, did that story have a point? I'm gonna say go with your gut. She nods sagely. That's right. Trust your impulses and don't be afraid to wing it. Almost any action is better than no action at all. Once you've committed to doing something, you've got to follow it through. Though no arguing or hand-wringing, just do it. If you get caught up in your own head, agonizing over past mistakes, well, don't be surprised if you wind up dead. A kitchen fire could take you down as easy as a cop's bullet if you stand around and let it. Having second thoughts with this new... Okay. Are you certain that Sibilance and the rest of the Magnum team are dead? That's a good question. She shrugs. They weren't with me when I got evacuated from the rest of the moviegoers. I never saw them leave the building and haven't heard from them since. I think this is going to come up again in the future. I guess it's possible that somebody made it, but I don't really run in those circles anymore. Odds are good that if anyone from the Makua team did survive, they'll have died off by now from sheer incompetence. Shadowrunning is an unforgiving business. You don't get to make too many mistakes. Having said, okay, did any of the stuff in that story actually happen, or did you just make it up for my benefit? Seattle, I'm hurt. It all went down exactly like I said it did. She pauses. Well, except for a couple of embellishments here and there, but they make it a better story. Artistic license and all that. Robette leans back and stifles a yawn. Madness and folly dart up to her left shoulder and lock their beady eyes on you. Hate to break it to you, kiddo, but I'm beat. It's been a long day. Lesson's over for now. We'll pick it back up next time. All right, goodbye. I'll catch you next time. Watch your calling kiddo. I'm older than you. Okay. Catch you next time. Yeah, sounds good. I'll have your next lesson ready and waiting too. She makes a brushing motion with her fingers. Scurry along now. Your mentor needs her rest. All right. So let's go out here. Go down the hatch. Down the hatch. We talked to Duncan already, right? Supposed to go down here. Can we go in here? Can we actually go to bed? I guess so. You wake with a start, your limbs bound up in a sweaty tangle of linen bed sheets. An incredible sorrow swells in your chest. You feel empty, half-starved, and alone. Fragmentary memories of a half-remembered dream fill your mind. They're already fading away to nothing. Chase the memories. You close your eyes and concentrate, willing yourself to keep the dream from slipping away. Gradually, the memory comes back to you. The walled city. You were back in the walled city. You don't remember how you got there, but it could have been any place else. Couldn't have been any place else. Even the barrens weren't so squalid. You remember craning your neck to look above you. The buildings that made up this part of the walled city were new construction, even cheaper than the old. Now their foundations had rotted out from under them, and the buildings leaned into one another like a gang of drunken men. A rain of plaster and asbestos sprinkled down, dusting your shoulders. You begin to creep forward, picking your way past the piles of refuse and debris. past the pimps and the dumpster fires, the broken glass and the dirty needles. The air reeked of rot and sewage and industrial waste, a disgusting melange that caught in your sinuses and crawled down your throat. You gagged on the stink, but it didn't slow you down. In the back of your mind, you knew that you had no reason to be doing this. There was nothing for you in the walled city. You shouldn't have been there. But the rest of you was hungry, unbearably, indescribably hungry, and that part of you knew that if you keep moving, you'd finally get to eat. As you forced your way deeper into the walled city, locals stood at their windows and stared. Inexplicably, some of them dropped to their knees. You kept moving. You could see something in the distance, a salute, something enormous, at least twice the size of a troll, but delicate. It was beautiful. The huge figure beckoned you, gesturing with slender limb. An explosion of warmth filled your chest, and you knew that if only you could reach it, your problems would be over. She, would make all of your sorrows disappear. You moved forward at a crawl, but the figure felt impossibly far away. You reached out, calling to her, and then you woke up. The empty feeling in your stomach slowly fades, taking the strength and vibrance of the memories along with it. That's not disconcerting at all. Alright. Are we supposed to go down here already? Are we supposed to go to another mission yet? Already? I think we are, aren't we? I forget. Oh yes, we're supposed to meet with Connie Chang's friend. Do we want to go to the hatch? Let's go down the hatch. What's up, buddy? Rector would be... Welcome back, my friend. What can I do for you? When you said this morning's casting, what did you mean? Exactly what I said. A casting that I made of a new locomotive assembly for Cochet. Cochet? He gestures at the display above the work table. A biomimetic design, as you can see. This one is inspired by the walking legs of a decapod crustacean. The mangrove crab, to be specific. Oh, actually, we had this conversation, didn't we? It's fascinating. Will this new leg assembly make your drone more effective? That remains to be seen, but I think we had this discussion already. By fabricating new components for Koshi, I unlock options, different ways of being, even the failures, and there have been many, have value in this context. Yeah, okay. How did you learn to do all this? Blah, blah, blah. I have to get back upstairs. All right. Was there anything else here? Seems like everybody on this boat runs the shadows. Why not pool our resources and work together? There we go. He purses his lips, considering. A compelling offer. I'm doing quite well on my own, but I must admit that there are certain jobs for which I am unsuited. Magic eludes me, and I'm not a decker. My strength comes from material objects in the real world. Solid things with mass and heft. Things that I can build and operate. Sadly, a great many clients are only interested in teams that display a mastery over the intangible. This group of yours, do you have people who can cover those bases? If so, then perhaps we can help each other out. How can you not already know that? You live right beneath our feet. Yes, we have a shaman and a decker, both competent at their jobs. Yep, we've also got a former security expert. I guess that's the best way to describe Duncan. In that case, I will accept your offer on a provisional basis. We'll do a few runs together and see how we get on. If our association bears fruit, it will continue. If not, I will bid you my farewell and go back to working alone. How does that sound? Welcome aboard. Very good. Excellent. When you receive a job, you know where to find me. My skills and resources are at your disposal. And with that, I'm afraid that I must bid you good day. I still have work to do down here. This leg assembly won't clean itself. I'll be in touch. Looking forward to working with you. And I with you. Bum, bum, bum. Okay. Wait, what's this? Ooh. Did this just open up? Oh, cool. This is Gyachu. The storage room that functions as Gyachu's cabin is a cramped, overheated mess. Piles of old ship parts share space with tarnished cookware. Flats of instant noodles, a collection of cast-off clothes, and reams of diagnostic manuals for obsolete computer hardware. To top it all off, there is barely any light whatsoever. All of the bulbs in this room are missing. Gyachu is busily moving boxes around, apparently in an effort to carve out some personal space amid the junk that he shares his cabin with. As you enter, he cocks his head and turns around. Welcome to my sanctuary spot. I apologize for the lack of light, but as I did not need it, Gobet took the bulbs for use elsewhere. Yachu puts down the box that he's in the process of moving and politely bows his head toward you. How can I be of assistance? I just wanted to see how you were settling in. Don't you worry about bumping into things. It's cramped in here. What do you think of the Dowager Express? Are you settling in? Yachu rolls his shoulders in a diffident shrug. I live. I'm among those who can make use of my services. I am among those who can make use of my services and who are not attempting to claim the bounty on my head. Is that not enough for now? Does that make sense? Wait, I am among those who can make use of my services and who are not attempting to claim the bounty on my head. I think that's... Oh, maybe it's I live among those who can make use of my services and who are not attempting to claim the bounty on my head. Okay. Got it. Any thoughts about that last run? You talked about your condition. Okay. Any thoughts on the last run? Yachu shrugs, blinking a few times in surprise. What do you expect me to say? You have allowed me to live, invited me into your home, or boat, if you prefer, and have given me a means to earn an income and use my particular set of talents. I am pleased with this. I like this guy. In addition, you allowed me to extract vengeance on those that had wronged me. To me, that says that you understand the nature of reputation and fear in the shadows. I look forward to working with you. Is there anything else I can do for you? Sure. We'll talk to you. I just said, as you wish. You are my benefactor, and as such, I yield to you. Ask then, I will do my best to answer. How do I know that the team is safe? Aside from being blind, how has it affected you? Aside from my heightened senses of smell and hearing, I am stronger, tougher, and more resilient than any mundane human. I can achieve feats of physicality that are normally restricted to adepts and those with extensive enhancements. Yachu lifts one hand, fingers crooked to show off his elongated nails. Claws, really. These, as well. As sharp as any small knife, I prefer my sword, but in a grapple, they come in extremely handy. He draws one nail over the surface of his shoulder plates. A hair-fine spiral of armor peels off in the nail's wake. Wow, that's cool. Do you still need to sleep? Can you turn into mist? You just need to sleep. Yachu chuckles, his laughter rasping out over his lips. Unfortunately, I do. I am not an undead creature of legend. If I manage to unlock the secret of rest without sleep, I will be certain to inform you. I love this guy. He's really cool. How do I know that the team is safe? I thought goals right now. Seems like your conditions has stabilized. For now, it has. I will not suddenly become a ravenous beast lurking in the hold of your ship. At least, no more so than I already am. Yachu bares his teeth in a wry grin, dipping his head a little. Why did you pick the name Yachu? Your armor is heavier than what most Shadowrunners wear, and more distinctive too. Yachu nods, growing with assent. That is correct. It is the armor worn by the elite soldiers of the Rinraku corporate military, the Red Samurai. Etiquette Corporate. Those are the Rinraki Special Forces, aren't they? Correct. The most elite soldiers that the corporation can muster, trained to the highest and most exacting level possible. They are assigned only the most dangerous, difficult, and important missions. Things other units would balk at even discussing. How'd you manage to steal a suit of their armor? That armor's a rare thing for Shadowrunner to have. They're going to come looking for your armor. I wonder if he was one. He was one. Armor's a rare thing for a Shadowrunner to have. That is true. It is considerably less rare for a Red Samurai to have a suit of it, however, even if he goes rogue. Yeah, that's what I thought. You were a Red Samurai. Indeed. For the entirety of my adult life, I was a member of the Rinraku military, specifically the Red Samurai. That changed relatively recently. I feel the reasons are abundantly clear. Hence, I still possess my armor, my sword, my training. They have served me well in both my previous life and in this one. Okay, cool. Why did you pick the name Yachu? It was given to me. This is what the Japanese call goals. For the most part, I am vermin, a thing shunned by polite society to be hunted and slain for a bounty. My old life is gone. It seemed as apt a name for the streets as any other that I could choose. Usually Shadowrunners pick something more impressive. Don't you worry that people will think it's a little silly. I like that attitude. It turns the tables of power. Yachu dips his head in agreement. One does not defeat the enemy solely by strength of arms. One must turn one's own weaknesses into strengths. It is an old and valuable lesson, too often forgotten. Okay. Did you grow up in a corporation? Yes. In Kaihanshin, the Kyoto Osaka Kobe sprawl. It is less populated than Neo Tokyo, but not by much. I grew up in East Kobe, where my father was posted in a Renraku complex. Yaochu roots around in a nearby box, running his fingertips over several chips before deciding on one. He slots it into his PDA, and a trid photo flickers to life in the space between you. A young man, obviously Yaku, leans against a railing which overlooks a sprawling harbor complex of skyscrapers and cranes. His school uniform is ripped, and the beginnings of a black eye are forming. Abrasions cover his knuckles, and blood dots his pants. Despite this, he's grinning like he's just won the lottery. Vibrant, fierce. You look a little beat up. Ah, that must be on Mount Maya. Maya? Is it Maya or Maya? I don't know. If I remember right, I gave better than I got in that fight. 3 against 1, but they were out of shape and cocky. I used to cause a lot of trouble when I was in school. My father was constantly raging that I had no sense of responsibility and that I needed to take life more seriously. A cackle erupts from Yaku's sudden mirth spreading across his face. The final straw was when he bailed me out of jail. I've been in jail a few times. What did you do? That would have tried Raymond's patience too. I've been in jail. My friends and I stole a delivery van. It had a shipment of Shadowrun Siamese SimSense decks, brand new, very expensive. We were going to fence them and use the money to take a trip to Okinawa. Yachu pauses, cocking his head. Are you familiar with what it's like to grow up in a corporate family? I know a thing or two about it, yeah. Then you understand how it is. Children are encouraged to participate in acts of vandalism against rival corporations. Unfortunately, we were caught by Shiawa's corporate security, not Renraku. You think your father approved, even secretly? I doubt it very much. For him, the activity was not the issue. It was that I was caught and embarrassed both the company and him. He is very much a man who believes that there is a proper way to do things, and I had once again cut corners. What did your father do next? Yachu clicks his tongue a few times. He seems reluctant to continue. That is a story for another time, unfortunately. I still have a lot of arranging to do, and I doubt anyone else will be willing to be alone with me in a darkened room. Come back later, we will discuss it. We can discuss it further. Okay, if that's what you want. Yachu bows politely. It is, and thank you again for your hospitality. Yeah, I really like him. He's cool. Yachu's box of personal effects is overflowing with a collection of souvenirs, mementos, and knickknacks, and paddywhacks, and dog bones. I added that last part. There's no rhyme or reason to the collection of items. They appear to have been thrown in haphazardly. Laying atop the box are a collection of antique Japanese coins inside an overturned wooden mask, and a black lacquered box with gold inlay. Yachu cocks his head, sniffing the air in your direction. Ah, I see you have found my box of personal effects. Please feel free to examine whatever you like within it. Just take care to put them back when you are done. I do not own much, but the things I keep are very precious to me. They are all that remains of my former life. Examine the wooden mask. The wooden mask is extremely light. It's been painted a pale white, and the surface is almost as smooth as porcelain, although it lacks the sheen. Oh, actually, we saw this stuff in the restaurant. What's this wooden mask? There we go. It is a mask from the historical play, Ikuta Atsumori. The face is that of a young samurai. Taira no Atasumi. I'm sorry, guys. Yachu faces your direction, gesturing toward the mask. I had a collection of a dozen or so no masks when I was younger. This is the last remaining one and my personal favorite. What's the difference between a normal play and a no? What's the play about? What is your favorite? No, actors wear those masks to cover their faces. The angle they held themselves at changes the expression on the mask. So that's pretty cool. So the acting is highly rigid and controlled. The entire performance is highly ritualized. There's no measure of improvisation allowed, only refinement of the prescribed form. Yachu folds his arms over his chest, dipping his chin in thought. The words are sung, like in a Western opera, and accompanied by a set of musicians known as heiashi. The heiashi keeps time with several drums, a flute, and chorus. A chorus in the Greek theatrical sense, I mean. Unfortunately, no is an unpopular art in modern times. I expect this is because all of the plays are conducted in classical Japanese, which is not comprehensible to the general public. I've heard that the creators of Noah, father and son in the 14th century, took inspiration from magical rituals at Shinto shrines. It is said that by placing masks upon their face, the actors became possessed by the spirit of the character they play. There are worse fates, I think, than to embody the spirit of a tragic warrior like Atsumori. What's the play about? What is your favorite? Okay, I'm gonna break my thing. I'm not going to actually go through all of this. Examine the lacquered box. The box is a deep, glossy black cube. The edges and corners are rounded rather than sharp, and the gold flake inlay across the surface glitters even in the dim lighting of the room. Sliding the top off, the interior contents are revealed. A calligraphy set, complete with inkstone and block, brushes and paper. Gotcha wrinkles his nose, his expression one of distaste. Ugh, that thing. It's a beautiful set, but it is a shame that I am unable to make use of it. Surely you used to be able to, because you're blind? Gotcha snorts derisively, stifling laughter. No, my handwriting has always been absolutely terrible. Whatever fanciful stories you may have heard of being able to tell a swordsman's ability by his handwriting, I assure you that they are wrong. The set was a gift from a professor of Japanese literature. He appreciated my interest in the classics, the tale of the Hayaki and the tale of Genji, the collection of 10,000 leaves, etc. I think he wished to encourage me to cultivate non-martial interests. Yachu smiles crookedly and shrugs. I appreciated the gesture, but my attempts at fine calligraphy mostly resembled excited chickens prancing over paper, their feet soaked in ink. Leave the box alone. Oh, that was it. Was that it? I thought there was... Oh, okay, that was it. All right. So we're gonna go back up here. Probably need to put a cut here soon. Let's real quick, let's look at her job thing. Check your inbox. Job offer from Isabel. A recording of Isabel pops onto the screen. She stares into the camera, her eyes full of intensity. If you're watching this, you've decided to listen to my job offer. That's a good thing. I wasn't convinced that you would. Our target is a local Decker, a former Wampoan in the Matrix. His handle is Rhombus. He has a software that we need. Unfortunately, he's unassailable from the Matrix, and nobody knows where he lives in meat space, but I know where he's going to be. There's an event coming up that Rhombus can't afford to miss. He might already be on his way there. As you're reading this message, Deckers from all over Asia, white hat and black hat alike, are converging on the Harbor Spires Hotel. This year, Harbor Spires is hosting DeckCon, Hong Kong's largest annual decking convention. Rhombus is going to be there, and that gives us an opportunity. We're going to hit the convention, find him in meat space, and get the software away from him, and we're going to do it quietly. Enclosed you will find a copy of the plan that I've worked out for the run, presented in bullet point format. Everything should be fairly straightforward. Isabel's image winks off the screen, replaced by a blinking cursor. As you watch, the screen begins to fill with lines of simple instructions. I will provide you with one other runner of your choice with visitor passes, for the convention. I will proceed ahead of you using my own guest badge. I will hide in the woman's lavatory on the first floor. You will enter by the kitchen and procure me a uniform from the catering staff. Please be sure that the uniform is size 4. We will rendezvous. I will change into the uniform, and using it, I will infiltrate the administrative wing on the 6th floor. You will proceed into the convention hall and await further instructions. Using the admin computer, I will identify Rhombus via his guest registration form. Once I have done this, I will alert you via comlink. I will upgrade your badge to VIP status, granting you access to the VIP wing of the hotel. You will tell Rhombus that he has been granted VIP status and offer to escort him to a complimentary hotel room. You will escort him to a room that I designate and hold him there. I will jack out of the Matrix and make my way from the admin wing to your room. We will intimidate Rhombus, beat the tar out of him until he gives us the software. We will tie and gag Rhombus and stuff him into a storage closet. We will not be gentle. It's okay if he starts crying. Actually, please prioritize this. I want to see tears. Software in tow, we will make our escape. The glowing text fades and Isabel winks back into the screen. See? It's a simple plan. Just like I said, we should be able to get through it without firing a shot. So, will you do it? Will you help me to get the software I need? Yeah, we'll do it, but I don't think we get to do it. Walk away for now. I think we need to go to talk to Kindly Ching. Kindly Ching's peoples first. So let's go over here. A sailor. Down here. Bump, 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 bump. All right. So we are going to go in here. but we're going to do that in the next part, because this one is about time to go up, you know, a lot of lore, a lot of conversations, but that's okay. That's what it's all about. Actually, we have somebody here who actually needs, oh yeah, this guy. Cool. We'll do this next time as well. So cool. I will see you next time. Thanks for hanging out. Always fun. Bye-bye.
We're going for the moon.
Hey there, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like. If you'd like to see more, just click subscribe. Come say hi to me on Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, any of those. I hope to see you next time.